Hey there everybody, it's Val and welcome back to Phoenix Reborn. I'm a little sleepy tonight, so hopefully I'll be mostly coherent. I'll do my best. To start with, the first thing I'd like to talk about is the fact that I made modular armor. And it's cool. It's got some bugs in it, but it's being actively worked on to fix. So the parts that do work are awesome. So for example, well actually let me start off by showing you the recipe for the modular armor. And talk about that a little bit. So let's look at the helmet. Basically what you need is tempered electrum. And you make tempered electrum with gelid cerothium and heated electrum. And to get the heated electrum, you need an electrum ingot, and you need to basically heat it with blazing protium. So it takes a little bit of resources to make, but it's pretty cool. You can also get level 1, but apparently that mostly increases your flight speed, and at this point there may be future other plans for the additional levels, but I don't know anything about those because, well, they're not done yet. So for what is done, you can make quite a lot of different additions, and I wasn't able to make them all, but as you can see, I made a few things. What you do is you put the item in your inventory and you right click when you have it selected, and it brings up this interface. And let me just do that so we clear that off. You can take off upgrades if you don't want them by clicking on the selected upgrade and hitting that. I don't actually want to take anything off in this case. In order to see which upgrades you can put on, you hit the recipes button and you can toggle through. If it says does not work, that means it's not for that piece of armor. So for example, the auto feeder is supposed to feed you when you get hungry. Right now that does not seem to be working, but I'm sure that bug will be sorted out. Just give it a little time. These are the ones that I haven't been able to play with. The potion thing to allow potions to work so that you could do things like, not the jetpack, step assist, jump boost. Where's one of the potion in it? Come on. There we go. Potion of night vision. So you need that potion upgrade in order to allow these upgrades to function properly. So you can have night vision on it, you can have invisibility, you can have magnet. Thomas's textures. Well, that's the texture that I've got right now, is Thomas's textures. Let's give you a good look at that. I like to think of the design on the front as a phoenix in flight. I don't know if that's what it actually is, but that's what I'm going to call it. Let's see. So for the features that are currently functioning properly, the jump one is working very nicely. So you can just go whoot. I like that. Woohoo! I've also added, basically upgraded them to the highest level of power available. So that's why it looks like I have almost no power in them, but they actually do have a decent amount. You just can't tell. Right now I can't really charge it up too well. We don't really have the capability yet. And speaking of the capability of upgrading, okay, let's start with the enhanced energy conduits from Ender.io. I have upgraded from the BC conduits and changed it all over to the enhanced energy conduit, which I like. And you will probably notice that this has changed just a little bit. Besides the fact I've added 2 solar generators, there's also the fact that it's got a different control setup here. And this changed control setup is courtesy of Gideon Seymour. He found some time to solve my problem for me, which I was totally unexpected and very much appreciated. So I went ahead and I implemented what he had figured out. I did make a few tweaks of my own. I've added freestanding bluestone wire, and I've also added additional solar generators over here. And talking with Gideon in chat, we decided how this would work, and it seems to be working quite nicely. So yeah, so let me just describe what you need to do. So you take your solar generator, whether it's the lowest tier or in this case the medium tier or even the high tier if you should be so fortunate, and put it down, you know, somewhere where it can get the sunlight. And then you need two RF monitors, which are a kitty corner with the solar generator. They have to be touching it in some fashion in order for them to know about it, I believe. But you don't want it right beside it. That's not ideal. We just want it touching it. All right, so this one is set, of course, to solar generator, and you set it to more, and then a high level. This is set to 90%. That is what Gideon had in his demonstration, and it seems to be working quite nicely. Then you take your other monitor, RF monitor, and you set that one, of course, to the same solar generator, and then you set it to less and 20%. So what should happen is this one will send a signal if your solar generator is 90% or more, and that'll come down here to our toggle latch, which will then send a pulse through the redstone repeater to the solar generator. We need the redstone repeater basically because the bluestone wire doesn't want to talk to it. I suspect you might be able to use a piece of redstone here as well, but since his design used the redstone repeater, I figured I would do exactly the same thing and, you know, not ask for any trouble just in case there was a reason for it. Specifically that I think he said that another wire or redstone would work there, but I'm sure he'll correct me in chat if I'm not correct. Okay, so when it hits 90%, it says, okay, you can now send the power through the system. So then it sends the signal here. This sends a pulse to the solar generator, which tells it, hey, we'd like you to start transmitting, please. And so it starts doing that. And then this one over here, when it gets less than 20% or less, it says, hey, you're 20% or less, and it sends a signal, which causes this change state, and now the solar generator will start charging. So they toggle back and forth like that. Now, basically this wire here going to these solar generators means that in effect these guys will be charging when this guy is transmitting, because there's nothing to reverse the signal. And of course the converse is true. When this one is charging, those guys will be transmitting. Well, I think that's pretty cool. I hopefully didn't just say the same thing twice. Basically they're opposites. One's transmitting, the other is charging, and vice versa. So I should always have a trickle of power coming in no matter what. Even if this is the only one that's sending me power, it's going to be a less amount of power than these guys. So these are my main solar guys, will be over here. And this guy is more to just detect the fact that if he's full, they ought to be full, kind of thing. So we'll see how it goes. There's always the possibility that this particular conduit at some point might have more power coming through, and it can't handle accepting it all. And in that case, these guys might not discharge fully down to 20% as quickly as this guy. And if that eventuality happens, we can either try upgrading this conduit or adding separate conduits coming from each solar generator. But I'll cross that bridge when I come to it. We're not anywhere near that bridge. I don't even think we're, can even see it yet. The bridge, that is. Alright, so I have talked about the modular armor. I have talked about the Ender IO upgrades and our new solar array. I've also done some additional stuff down here in the basement to do with Ender IO, and I will just quickly show you that too. I've added a painting machine, and what this lets you do is Actually, let me just, let's just grab an example from over here. So you take this guy, or a stack of those guys, whatever it is you need, and you just put it in here, and so this guy paints it with this block. So now we have something that looks like a redstone block. So if we put it down, it looks exactly like a redstone block until you hold the wrench. And as you can see, here is all my concealed piping hidden away underneath what looks like hardened clay. Now to move these guys, you just hit them with a pick and they go back into your inventory. So I think that is pretty cool, and I'll just throw you in there again and just leave you alone. You can sit in the output slot until such time as I need you. Now, I was actually told about the painting machine since I haven't had time to do the research that I have been meaning to do yet. I will be watching videos on these so I understand more of the cool bits, but you know, time gets away from me. Anyway, the person that told me about this, if I can find their name, it was on one of my YouTube videos. Here it is. 62010 Classic is the one that told me about the painting machine. So thank you very much. I appreciate that. Because, well, here we are using it, and I love it. Hiding all the things works for me. Alright, I think there was at least one more thing I wanted to talk about. Yes, there was. Alright, so let's just go over there and have a look at it. Is it dark out? It's probably dark out by now. If it's dark out, we're going to have a nap. It's dark out. Dang it. We'll get interrupted, I just know it. Okay. Now, as you can see, I have set up some autonomous activators, and we also have a floating hopperhock from Botania, and it's picking up our sugarcane, our beans, and over here this is holding wheat. I won't bother going around the side there, but it's holding our wheat. These crops, I actually spent some time off camera getting them to the best crops they can be, which is growth 10, gain 10, and strength 10. I found that the attribute that took the longest for me to get to 10 was the gain. A growth reached 10 first, followed by strength, and then after a little while longer it went to 10 in gain. It took me about 3 or 4 hours doing that. Now I wasn't standing here constantly breeding them as quickly as I could. I was doing other things at the same time. So, but the other thing that I found is that it's very handy to get them to 10, because once your base crops are 10, when you crossbreed them, your products are also going to be strength 10 in all attributes. So it's worth it, I think, to spend the time and get your base crops up to the best they can be. And I will do that off camera for other base crops as I come across them and as I get the time. It all depends on time. Time, I don't always have a lot of time. But anyway, the reason that I put beans in there is I decided that I was going to make baked beans one of my meals, and it is delicious. And once I can actually make cheese easily, we can have baked beans on toast, which is even better to eat. Unfortunately, we can't put the meal into the EMC system, so we can't easily make it, but we can at least do the toast when we run out of beans, and have our nice baked beans when we actually have the supplies. I like my meals. I like having different meals and not eating the same thing all the time. Even if I do eat them a stack at a time, I still like to change them up. The downstairs battery is full. Yeah, it's full. You're right. It won't be full for long. There it goes. Yeah, so let me just throw my armor in here to start to recharge. It will empty this. I've got to look at getting this basic capacitor bank upgraded, because it's not, basically I've got enough power coming in that unless I actually have my armor in there sucking back all the power, it fills up really quickly. Yeah. That's a nice problem to have, though, needing more storage space for your power. Don't mind that problem at all. Alrighty, I think that was all that I wanted to talk about. You might notice I replaced the ladders with elevators, but that's a pretty minor thing. I think everything else is I've pretty much talked about it. We did go hunting. We found a pig, and slaughtered said pig for its goods. That's not what I'm looking for. We also found pumpkins on our way there, so we can now make pumpkin pie and the like. Pumpkin bread. I'm looking forward to having some pumpkin bread as well. So the pork. Yeah, we just basically got pork. Put them in here, so now we don't have to slaughter any more pigs. They can live their lives out in, happy pig fashion, rolling in mud, etc. Rooting after truffles. What are truffles, anyway? I know that you have chocolates with truffles in them, but is it actually the truffle that the pigs find? I'll have to look that up one day. Oh yes, the achievement stand. You can actually take your book and put it on a stand, so you can check things off in a more official fashion. So I went ahead and I did that. Gideon mentioned that this existed, and it looks pretty cool. I like it. Nice block. Anyway, this time I'm pretty sure I've talked about everything that I intended to. So I hope you guys enjoyed this tour. Sorry if I'm a little sleepy and a little bit less bouncy than I normally am, but I can't help it. I'm tired. Anyway, you guys, thank you very much for watching. I hope to see you in the stream sometime. You all take care now. Bye.